Hey guys, thanks for joining us. We are watching America's Next Top Model, Season 23, Episode 2, Lights, Camera, Catwalk. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Got the old school version here.
Hey guys, so you are watching AFTERBUZZ TV, obviously, and you are watching us, your hosts, at the America's Next Top Model panel. I am Vivian Adaobi. You can always follow me online at VivaciouslyViv.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Heather Yerrid.
And of course, her name is Heather. And she's beautiful. Don't you love her in this orange? She's giving me so much.
I try. You know, I had to wear the color that might look best on me, maybe. As a model show, I have to maybe play it up a little bit.
You have to be top model ready.
Yes, and
Even just for the panel.
I tried to wear as least makeup as possible because of the comments they made to a couple of the girls on the first episode. They were like, love your face, less makeup. So I literally got on like, okay, light on the eyeshadow, do a dark lip, you know. So how did I do?
I think you did great. I love the lashes. I love the lips.
Oh, these are real lashes.
Oh,
just kidding.
Well, talking about real lashes, now let's get into some real drama.
Yes.
Because the lady started off this episode moving into the house, the model house, which is always exciting because they're in New York. It's a really swanky, nice New York apartment pad with several rooms they're running through. I mean, I wanted to move in next too.
I was surprised that they found something that big. It always fascinates me, being in New York for the 4 years that I was. You couldn't find anywhere that you couldn't like walk like this unless you were in a penthouse that was about $7.5–10 million of rent. So again, I don't know. I'm sure they have connections with Tyra and everybody else.
Definitely.
Maybe Rita too. But huge place. Like, were they in the heart of Manhattan? Are they not? I was shocked by that.
I don't think they're in the heart of Manhattan because, I mean, VH1 has a really big budget, but but Manhattan prices, I just don't think that's what they were working with.
Yeah.
And also just the vibe of the community, it looked like they were in a more calm area, like maybe Queens or Brooklyn.
Oh, yeah, because they were in Harlem. I mean, not that you can't get to Harlem from Manhattan, but maybe like that whole Astoria, Harlem. They do have bigger places that are nicer.
Like a borough? What is? I don't know what a borough is.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to
Queens.
Oh,
Queens
that's
could be,
borough.
yeah, it could be a borough. Yeah, it could be Queens. Good thought. Good thought on that.
Yeah, so they're in this nice, swanky house. And, of course, drama already. This is only the second episode.
Oh, my gosh. It was a lot.
There's so much. Yeah. First off, Binta versus Paige. I don't know where this rivalry came from, but
that's what I was about to ask
pretty
you.
Fierce.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. Where did this come from? What are we seeing? And obviously, again, knowing reality TV, they've cut and edited some things.
Right.
Me personally, I'm just going to be honest. I think she doesn't like Paige because Paige might be like the epitome of what she would assume would be, just like the other girls said, a white snobby bitch, with all due respect. They did say that. They're like, I thought she'd be like snobby and stuck up, and she wasn't. So I feel like we definitely have a little bit of that energy coming in here, and it showed in this episode.
Yeah, and they definitely are two really strong personalities. And when they're casting the show, they want a ton of personalities, but you can already tell there are some girls who are a bit more meek and a bit more shy. And then you have these powerhouse personalities, like Binta comes in, guns a-blazing. Like, she does not hold anything back. And Paige is just very energetic. She said it multiple times in the episode. She's true to who she is. She's not going to change herself for anyone.
Yeah.
So there's bound to be clashes, but the fact that it's so early, they just moved in.
Yeah. I don't think Paige has a loud personality. I'm extroverted. I can be introverted. But even with her, I believe she's friendly. That's it. She's a friendly extrovert. As far as like a dominating personality, not at all. So I was very surprised. Binta, on the other hand, absolutely. I feel like every woman that's gone through America's Next Top Model that has that really short hair is amazing. Fierce with the camera, on point. They always get a little bit timid.
You can't just play with your hair into the camera. You have nothing there.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to be very confident. I mean, even when I wear my hair up like this, I'm a little bit self-conscious sometimes. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain it, but on certain nights I am. So I can only imagine, and that's a really good point. With that short hair, you know, all you have is his face.
All you have, it's this only.
Yes.
And so you can't hide, you can't play, and you also have to amp up your femininity. Ooh, I can't speak English tonight. Femininity. in other ways. But then it also gives you an edge too, because it's easier to slip into something a bit more androgynous. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to see if that happens throughout the show. But one of the biggest sources of drama was their backyard conversation.
Yeah, or you want to get right into that patio flow?
Let's stay in the house. Let's stay in this house of drama and scandal in season 23, episode 2. Yeah, so the fact that they had this really deep conversation so early.
So Paige opens it up.
Yes.
Okay, saying Black Lives Matter, right? Granted, I have no clue where that came from. I don't know. I personally, I mean, okay, great that you said that, but really, did you
Yeah.
I want to help people. Okay, let me back up. One thing I loved, she said, I'm entitled. I had a great, she didn't say these words, but I'm entitled. I had a Catholic school, privileged. I want to do something with it. I think that's amazing. There are not enough people that are privileged right now, from my opinion, that I've been around, that are using the backing and the nepotism that they have to help the higher good.
Right.
But I feel like she took
and are also aware.
Yeah. But I feel like she took a shift there, and with the whole Black Lives Matter comment, and I don't understand. I understand how it aligns, but in that moment, like, can't you talk about an initiative? Can't you talk about something else? Like, that's a hot button. So I don't know if she was told to do that or what, but for the most part, I thought it was received well by the other two women, and I actually learned something there. But what did you think?
I felt like it was a planted conversation.
Oh, yeah.
These women are still trying to get to know each other. They're also on their guard because they're competing against each other. Why would I sit down and open up in that sort of way when my mind is on the prize? That just didn't make sense to me. So I feel like this was probably part of a longer conversation where they had multiple topics to talk about, and then in the editing room they said, this one, yeah, we're gonna go with this one.
Good call, because when Binta was in the confessional, or whatever you call it, she was actually making some really good statements. We can't get along unless we understand where we come from and who we are. That didn't really align with Paige's statement when watching the show.
Right.
So that surprised me. But when it cut right to, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who the woman was, but this was very fascinating to me. She literally looked at her and was like, we don't identify with you. Like, I'm not African American. You know who you are. But it was like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. And that other girl, to me, that did not align, but again, it opened up doors that really, I just never thought of it that way. And so that, I was fascinated.
Yeah, it was a very interesting and deep conversation. It's something that a conversation I've had with my friends and people who I've gone to school with before, but it was just felt oddly placed on this show, on the second episode. Just in the first, it wasn't even halfway through the show when this came up. So that was a little bit interesting, but I feel like now they're setting the scene for making Binta a source of conflict.
I do believe they're setting the scene, good call, but the source of conflict. Also, though, it's playing into this whole new season, new people, no Tyra, and we're diverse, and we're going to make sure that everyone's getting a voice. But here's a voice that I'm not hearing. Where are the plus-size models? We have Ashley Graham on the panel, and we clearly have a lot of different backgrounds, but...
Backgrounds and also heights.
Yeah.
Chris Leanne, she's petite. I mentioned that in the last episode. She's around 5'5", 5'6", so she's more of a commercial model, not the typical high fashion model height. So they have and there is diversity with the races, like you mentioned, but you're right. There's no plus-size model, and there's no men.
And what do you think about that with not having a plus-size model?
I wish that they had one, because the plus-size models that have been on the show in the past have rocked it. And the fact that Ashley Graham is literally the poster child for plus-size models, killing it, slaying, doing it big, literally. And there's no representation to match her. She is currently the only voice for the plus-size.
Yes.
And they don't even like the term plus-size models, just the more curvaceous models.
Is that what they're saying now? I actually don't know that. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Not many people
say plus size anymore? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, dated. I get myself.
It's a fairly relevant, recent thing.
Okay.
But I feel like they should have had at least one or two, you know?
I think it's ridiculous. I'm going to take it back to the first episode real quick. Philip Plein, I think, or Plant, is that how you say it? Philip Plein? That was one of
Philip
the...
Klein.
Okay, yeah, with the PP. Like, his first statement in episode 1 was like, you have to have a certain look to cut it here. You have to be a certain way. And in my head, I was like, wait a minute. Okay. So what you're saying is where the 5'10" lanky chicks, like that's what I heard. So that's why in episode 2, again, it really resonated with me. Where are the plus size models? I get the height thing, sure, and I see that we have about 3 26-year-olds, and then we have a bunch of 18, 19, 20s, which again is typical. But if we're trying to go with the whole, everything is new and we're going for a 360 boss, then I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous that there's not that type of variety in the show just yet. But
Yeah. Well, I hope they address it at some point during this season, that maybe Ashley Graham speaks upon it, or it somehow becomes part of the dialogue, because they're getting hit a lot about this one topic already.
Yeah. Well, I think
the
they
first
should leave it
episode.
out. They should leave it out. Says there's not one there. Let's leave it out. Our mistake. Bring them on for the next one, because at this point, if they do touch on it, it'll just look, to me, it'll look fake. Like, it'll just be a put on completely. But I do think that even though there's no men in the competition, they are at least bringing them in. We see that when they go to Harlem with Stacey. Yeah, with Stacey.
Speaking about Harlem, transitioning us into the challenge, I was really excited about this challenge because they're really using New York as not just, oh, we're in New York, but like really using it as a place of culture and inspiration and excitement. And so going to Harlem to have this walk-off challenge, first they come and they meet Stacey McKenzie, who is runway model extraordinaire coach. I did some quick research on her. She was also a judge on Canada's Next Top Model. She's originally from Jamaica, and she, later on we'll get into her story, but she's been with the ANTM
brand, yeah.
Guys, you know, the holidays around the corner and my mind is on hot chocolate, so
Sorry,
don't mind me.
I got you.
Yeah, so we meet her and she introduces the Voguers, and
Loved the entry of the Voguers.
Yes.
I mean, that is such a New York, like they said, Harlem star. I did the show Bring It, and that's literally where Bring It gets all of their inspiration from.
Nice.
So completely Bring It. But did I miss something? I mean, tell me, Viv. I don't know about you, but I have not seen any runways where people are actually moving, and they were like, "Oh, moving and shaking is all about it these days." There's lots of energy, and I'm like, again, I mean, am I dating myself or what?
There is a style of runway that's not high fashion. It's more performance. I went to college in DC, and in the Maryland area, they had modeling troops who would kind of dance model. So that's what I saw with these Voguers.
But is that in high fashion yet?
But that's not in high fashion, and that's not really what you're going to see on the runway of any major designer. But I feel like they were just trying to get the girls to loosen up and, you know, be creative and explore things that they may not have done thus far, especially after last week they had the go-sees and they did their model walks, and they knew that some of the girls were stiff. So this was probably a way to like loosen up, have fun, have confidence. That's what I was getting from it. So
Yeah. Squad 1 versus Squad 2. Who'd you think owned it? Do you really think Squad 1 deserved the win?
To be honest, I don't even remember who was on Squad 1, Squad 2. We're still getting to know the girls, so I felt like I couldn't keep up with which side was better, because for one, there wasn't a lot of critique yet with this challenge as far as who is better. So I was watching and I was like, okay, well, they're both kind of on the same level. Okay, next one, same level. The only ones I could say that I knew right away, I was like, Justine. They made it very apparent that she wasn't confident with her walk. Kyle was very unsure of herself with the walk, and that plays out later on in the episode, but
which we will touch on that.
Yeah,
I thought Squad 1 was stronger. I mean, we got Binta, we got Paige. Again, I'm not sure what Paige, I guess she has done runway modeling before, but to me, Squad 1 definitely came strong and came strongest. And we even have Marissa, that cute little 18-year-old. She's so cute.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's like, they're fierce, which she knew it, but I definitely think Squad 1 for the win was good. That was, to me, definitely the stronger, the stronger team.
Way to go.
Yeah, but when you know, I didn't think, I'm jumping ahead, sorry, I was about to say something about when Stacey came over for the winners, but I'll hold off. I don't know what you're
Well, I mean, we're actually going to go into that next, because so the prize for the winning squad was to have extra time to practice with Stacey McKenzie herself, and that's when she shared her story of. This is one of the reasons I love shows like this, because no matter if you're interested in fashion or modeling or anything in life, you can relate to this story. She had a lot of rejection for something that she wanted to do from a very young age, and finally she just made sure that she held on to her faith and believed in herself, and all she needed was one yes.
And the fact of how serendipitous it was, that was my favorite part. 6 years old, sister says, you're going to model with them. And she was like, me, had no clue that last call, the guy was like, go to this casting call. And it was Jean-Paul Gaultier. I was like, see, that's how you know magic exists. That was amazing. And the girl asking for her legs, Madonna. Like, oh, can I have those legs? I got chills when I heard that story. And that really, my belief, my personal experience is how it works. That story was real. That is the difference in this episode to me, this season of America's Next Top Model. We are seeing more real, authentic life stories. We are seeing more of that touch of not so, I can't be in that lifestyle.
Right.
And this definitely grounded it. And she is different. I mean, she's a 100% different than what was out there. And it is inspirational, at least, to see her do that. The whole walking and their prize, I thought that was a little bit, I was like, that's it? That's all they get? They just get to walk up and down a couple times and she gives them a couple tips about not lifting their legs?
Well, hopefully there was a lot longer rehearsal and critique.
Yes.
Hopefully, because you
Yes.
guys, it's a 1 hour show. So we're only going to see so much. But I think for them, they're all so green that just being in her presence, that was probably
Yeah.
like a nice little bonus.
Yeah.
So
I learned some about my walk though.
Oh, you
they
did?
Were, yeah, they were like, don't bend the knees and don't lift legs. Lately I've been walking like an elephant. Like even in my
You
apartment.
really?
I know. I used to not do that, but I'm like, why am I walking so hard? But now I don't bend the knees and don't lift so much. And I'm just like, oh, okay, maybe I'm bending the knees and lifting too much. So now I'm gonna totally test that and be
Nice.
like, me and my 5-foot self. Down my hallway. I'm gonna be like, yeah.
The fiercest 5 feet that have ever walked this earth.
I always say
Heather.
my personality. I'm like, my personality is 5'9". People are like, you're only 5 feet. I'm like, well, my personality is 5'9". I'm
It
like,
does not matter. 5 feet of fierceness and fun and fabulosity, all that. So, yeah, that was the challenge. That was Miss Stacy, and then we go into the competition. So Stacy was there to prep them that night because their competition was to walk down the runway, and then they were going to fall into a lovely pit of hot men.
oh, crowd surfing photos.
Crowd
Super tough.
surfing, and
Super
that's where their
tough.
first photo shoot would happen.
Yes, yes.
What did you think of the concept of this one?
I thought the concept was good. Anytime you're falling into men is amazing. Right. Then having to pose while looking up and being grabbed, hair, whatever it may be, is difficult. So overall, I thought the idea of the competition was good and it was unique. Enter in Zendaya.
Yes, Zendaya. So if you guys aren't familiar, Zendaya is an actress. She's been on Disney Channel and a whole bunch of other stuff. She's really big with the youth, and she's very young. I believe she's only 19, but she's become an influencer for style, for music, for a lot of things. And Law Roach, who is one of the judges on the panel, has been her stylist or image architect.
Oh my gosh, that was so much better. Image architects. Everybody out there who's a stylist, steal that.
Right.
You are an image architect. You architect the look of the greatest.
Right.
Yeah, stylist is out the door. I wrote
Stylist
that
is-
down. I'm like, what am I going to call myself? What am I need to invent a new name.
Right. So he's been with her since her first days on Disney Channel and really evolved her into a young style icon. So it's really cool. I didn't think they would bring her into the show this quickly. I thought she would be more of a later on in the season. So
So you really thought you were going to see her on this show?
yeah.
Okay. Because
they're-
once you saw Law.
they're very, yeah, I knew, because they're very close. They call each other family, and a lot of her, I mean, all of her style is really from him. He helped mold her style and make her into this young woman, and so she's grateful. She's a very appreciative young woman, so to give him this opportunity to say, here's one of my muses, and now she's here to support me, I knew she would do that. She's that type of girl.
So I'm going to have to, again, I'm going to take a different position here.
Go for it.
I didn't like having, I did not feel it was appropriate having her on the show. Again, she's 5'9", 5'10", she's 90 pounds. She was in a bikini top with a jacket on over it. So if we're going for a different vibe, a different look, to me that screamed typical model again. She's got that look. She's a toothpick. I mean, don't worry, I'm envious of that toothpickness, I swear. And she's also, like you said, she's young. Are we trying to be different or are we not? We have a preteen almost, someone who's just almost getting into their 20s, picking out what she believes to be the woman with the best modeling skills in the show, and her choice, again, the decision she made to pick who won, which I'll let you say that you want, it showed me this was a mismatch. She didn't even know she was judging. So I didn't like it. I didn't like that she was in there. I didn't like that the choice for her to judge was there. It didn't flow for me at all.
I feel like with her, they were thinking the social part, the social influencer part, the cool girl, because that's what the supermodels of the moment are. The Gigi's, the Kendalls, they're the cool girl models. They're the socialite models.
So the influencers.
The influencer models.
Okay,
that's what I was getting with her. Because
Okay.
otherwise, she's not a model technically.
Yeah.
So her judging, modeling, meh.
Well, clearly she's not a good judge of model because she picked Kyle for the win. What did you think of Kyle's presence and presentation during this competition?
I feel like Kyle was just different. I don't think that she was the best, but I think she was so distinctly different than the other girls competing and walking down that runway and taking the photo that's what caught her eye. Not necessarily that she was the best, because we saw some really great walks and some really terrible train wrecks. And
Kyle was a train wreck in this one.
I liked her walk. I did.
My
Okay, look, hear me out. I liked her walk as an improvement of where she started in this episode.
Okay.
From where she started to what she presented in that competition, and not most valuable player, I take that back. Most improved.
Okay, all right,
Most
PC, all
improved
right.
Kyle. Kudos.
Vivian for president.
Wait, no, I don't want that. No.
All right, I'll take that.
I would say most improved and just having a different style.
Okay,
Did I
but
think
different style in what regard? Like her suit, the fact that she had on the suit, or what?
Just her vibe. She's always going to be different because her style is more androgynous, and I do feel like she brought out the confidence when she was walking. Was she the best walker? No, but you could tell that she was trying to really be comfortable with herself and sell it.
I mean, so was every other woman. Marissa was trying to be confident with herself. Justine, even though she spread-eagled everybody and showed that chotch 5 times. But Kyle was stiff, was not even walking good. And even the fall of the picture that was chosen, she was third from the bottom. There were 3 people that were in the bottom, okay, the last 3 that were picked. Her picture was right before that, which means she was number 4 out of 14. So that in itself is like, this woman should not have won. I think that was a total pick.
This is something Law actually clarified, because he said that the competition wasn't about the walk.
It wasn't about the walk,
He clarified during the panel.
Or the photo, right?
He clarified. He
And
said
what
it
was
was
it
about being a boss. I feel like this is something they need to clarify for the show. What this boss, what do they mean by being a boss?
What do you think they mean?
I feel like they're trying to create a Tyra, and I feel like boss is the wrong word. For right now, boss is the wrong word. Boss comes later, once you have something established. I feel like now they should be focused on their brand. And brand and boss aren't the same, which is why they have their 3 Bs. But to put boss so early, you're selling the clothes. You're selling the look, you're selling your brand, you're selling the designer's brand. I don't think the boss theme. It doesn't make sense right now.
The only thing I pulled from it is maybe just own it. So to be a boss means that you were owning yourself and being comfortable in your skin. Again, assumption. But even Kyle did not do that. Kyle knew that she did not do well in that. So it was very, very interesting.
What did you think about the other girls' walks?
So Corey Ann, I thought her walk was great. So obviously Stephanie Robertson.
Yes.
Yeah, Stephanie Robertson's daughter. I think, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I hope I didn't mess up that last name.
You got it perfect.
Yeah, so I think the walk was phenomenal, but she was totally stiff when she fell. Again, she was
Definitely.
in her own head. She even said it herself, too confident. I believe that Justine's fall was bad. Walk was phenomenal. Marissa, amazing.
Yeah.
She's killing it. I mean, completely. And I did think that Cody, one of the twins, like Cody did good, Tash did good. I thought they all did good. They all did better than Kyle. Sorry, I'm not trying to pick, but like it was just like so blatantly. But
And Chris Leanne was another one that struggled with this too, because she's been told multiple times her walk is really sexy, just everything is sexy, sexy, sexy. And then she did the fall, and automatically we assume sexy, which is what she was doing. But she complained about not being able to see, and the lights were blinding, which is almost valid, but every other girl did the same exact thing.
And they could see.
And they could
don't
see.
tell me that girl doesn't Snapchat herself with that light or do those Instagram pictures with that light and not blind herself 5,000 times. So
And another
that was
thing, too,
definitely an
They're
excuse.
taking a lot of photos. Close your eyes, open. Close your eyes, open. Like you can open your eyes at some point.
Yeah, or just open the whole time and cry a little bit. Maybe it'll add some gloss to your eyes.
Yeah.
But do you think she's too sexy?
I don't think she's okay. personally, I feel like she's too sexy. For this show, I feel like it's needed to have someone like her because there will be a challenge that she will dominate because she exudes that sex appeal. But she just needs to make sure it doesn't hold her back from the future competitions because that's not the look for everything that they want.
Right.
She needs diversity.
Yeah, and sex does sell. Sex does sell, but I believe that's what she's used to. I'm making an assumption here, just watching the way she moves.
Right,
Again, I think she's gorgeous. Her body's beautiful. I mean, it's perfect. But in that, I thought it was interesting Rita brought up from her very first shot, and I think this might have been the episode before, but it's like, oh, are you posing for Instagram or are you being a model? I love that Rita keeps bringing up the difference in that because, like you just said, they are trying to do the boss and the influencers, but the Instagram models of today are more sexy. I mean, the reason that a lot of the girls on Insta have a lot of followers is because they're showing their boobs and their butt and they're being sexy.
Right, and Chris Leanne did say in the first episode that she had 50,000 plus followers. So she has an audience, which is not a bad thing, but
it's amazing.
Have some diversity.
Yes. I thought that was interesting. But for the most part, no, I don't think I'm going back to it. Sorry, one more time. Kyle winning. No. Sorry.
You guys should have seen it. I mean, you couldn't see it because when we were watching, she was literally like, no,
not this one. I'm not gonna be okay with that. I'm surprised none of the other girls said anything.
They probably had some comments.
Well, they should have shared. They should have shared that on air.
But this is episode 2. They're still scared. They're not ballsy yet.
Oh, talk about ballsy. We had another ballsy conversation in the kitchen between who? Paige and Benta.
Paige and Benta again, and we were kind of confused about this. What is extra?
Oh my gosh!
Because that was what the argument was about. Was Benta has said that Paige is being too extra, and Paige
extra.
And I've heard extra as being, oh, you're doing the most, you're doing too much, you're being too much, but nothing I saw in their interaction showed Paige being more than what she's shown before. No, she seemed consistent the whole time.
So what they were talking about was when Corianne and Paige walked into the shoot before getting set up and getting styled and everything, and then touching the clothes. That's what she was referring to about her being too extra. Again, from your definition, from what you're telling me, again, this is the first time ever I've heard this phrase. Like, oh, you're too extra. I mean, I've never been called extra, and I think I should be called extra very often. So I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
From what you're describing, I agree. There was nothing that she did that was extra. If that's
I think
what we're
extra is the
talking.
wrong word.
I don't know what it was, but I think it was uncalled for, just like you did. I agree. Do you think touching the clothes was bad, good, what? I mean, Corianne did it, and she's a model.
Yeah, she has model experience. She was actually signed to LA Models. I saw that.
Yeah.
I just think that if you're a model, you should bear in mind you're a professional, and don't necessarily start touching everything, because for one, everyone has oils on their hands. You may have makeup on your hand. We don't know what you're coming in with, and you might be soiling the material that you now have to sell. So you should just wait until someone says, oh, check this out, or hands you something, because you don't own this, Admire with your eyes. You don't necessarily have to touch, because you're still a professional in a working environment, and you want them to ask you back.
So what I hear you saying is you do think it was unprofessional for them to touch the clothes.
I do think it was unprofessional.
Yeah, got it. I'm on the same page. Extra, again, not necessarily the word, but let's not act so goo goo gaga. It's like if we're on set at a movie or on a show and a celebrity walks by. You're, oh my God, can I take a selfie? That is kind of what it reminded me of. If like Jeremy Piven was to walk in, and if I were like, oh, let me take a selfie with you, please, Leonardo DiCaprio, let me have a pic. No, that was the exact same thing for me. It's like if you're taking a picture, wanting to put yourself in there versus like going and touching these clothes. What have you never seen nice clothes before?
Right.
Never seen glitter? I thought that was very weird. Like it was uncalled for.
I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, but that fight in the kitchen and the being extra didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense
at all.
Maybe it was another editing thing. Who knows?
I don't know. But her and Kyle, when they were talking about it, and Marissa came upstairs and was like, I think you're fine. Keep your personality. But Marissa's playing both sides. She was like, yeah, did you notice that?
Marissa is a little bit more clever than you may have thought from the first episode.
Oh my God, she's amazing. She's amazing. Yes. And how about the eyebrows on all these girls? So Marissa has the brows.
Yes, eyebrow goals, and they're also so on trend with their eyebrows because the thicker eyebrows are in. Hey, thicker eyebrows.
Yes.
I don't know what mine look like right now, but I'm gonna hope that they're thick and luscious also. But yeah, no, the faces here this season
I love that. I love that.
gorgeous.
Yeah, we do have good faces. I mean, I think that it has been different in the other seasons. They have focused more on the height and the weight, being like your typical slender. But the faces here, I do believe, are more of the, I guess, commercial per se, but can transition over, which is awesome. Because Rimmel London might be like that. Because Rita's face is cute. She can be cute and sexy as well.
And also, going back to the price package, they're not getting a modeling contract out of this. They're getting a VH1 talent deal. They're getting
What does that mean?
talent deal. They can end up doing hosting. They can end up on another show. They might be asked to do a carpet, but it's not necessarily you're gonna model. Who models for VH1? It's
No.
It's
But
general
Rimmel
talent.
London, right? Rimmel
Yeah,
is
they
the
do
London,
get something from Rimmel, but Rimmel also has people that aren't necessarily models. They have a lot of actors and actresses and big personalities, and they also get a spread in Paper Magazine, which, I mean, Kim Kardashian is really the one who put Paper Magazine on the map most recently, and she's not a model.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just more so on the influencer style.
So what do you think about that? What do you think about not having a model contract being on America's Next Top Model as the prize? What do you think about that not being present this season? Does that make you discredit it really being a top model show this season?
At first it did, but now the more that I think about it, a lot of the models have been branching out, and if anything, it gives them an opportunity to be courted by a lot of top modeling agencies who may see this, because we see this in a lot of reality shows. People win and they get locked into a contract that might not even be the best contract for them, and then they're stuck for a certain amount of time. And yes, they have a contract, but maybe this other agency or this other management group could have given them something so much better, because clearly they're talented and have a following.
Yeah.
So that could be good.
You know what I'm noticing too, and I don't know if this is again trying to separate from the whole Tyra brand, but it seems that Rita and Ashley and everybody is really digging into these girls' family pasts. I mean, like we see when they're picking the pictures, when Cody walks up. Cody, have you felt overshadowed by your sister your whole life? I was shocked when that was the first thing she said to her when they were doing the photos. Normally, Tyra cuts to the chase.
Let's dive into it. Let's dive into the judging, because this is the first judging panel where they've had a full-on competition, and we're really getting into the deeper levels of these contestants. And as you said, one of the twins, she came up and she was bawling. She was the last contestant to be judged, and she had so much anxiety that she just didn't know what to do with it. She was uncontrollable with her emotions. And after hearing her sister get such high remarks and praise, and she, like you said earlier, Rita had mentioned, like, do you get overshadowed? They did that on purpose, for one. Because earlier in the episode, they did set up that she has said, oh, I'm used to being my sister's shadow.
And I was about to ask you, too, did you think that she was picked first or the first in the thing out of pity, or do you think she really deserved it?
I kind of think pity.
I think we got a couple pity calls in this episode.
Yeah,
which really, again, I'm not gonna. If this season's gonna be doing that, you're gonna hear me. You're gonna want to watch, because I'm gonna say a lot of controversial things that'll probably piss some people off. Because I totally think that was a pity call again. I was like, this is reminding me of like the '80s when there would be beauty pageants and people would get certain things because of other things, as opposed to actually being a true beauty queen. I'm being very elusive for a reason with that statement, but yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a fan.
I mean, granted, there were a ton of great photos in this bunch, which I didn't know what they were going to look like. So I was very excited for the girls. And I feel like it was a very hard choice between the photographs that were presented. But that almost felt like a throwaway.
I agree. I thought it felt like a throwaway. And did you believe that the ones, I probably shouldn't ask this because I can't even remember myself unless I wrote it down. The two who they called first, Tatiana. Wasn't it Tatiana? Oh, no, I wrote Tatiana should have won. I was like, Tatiana should have won. She did amazing. She looked great. But I thought she was fierce. Tash was, is it Tash? I want to say it properly. Cody, is it Tash? T-A-S-H? How do you pronounce it? Okay. That was amazing. But again, I'm going to have to go. Kyle gave the same face that was given in the first picture, that attempt to be like, and I was like, what are we, blue steel? Like, what's happening here? Like, what's going on? But I wasn't a fan. I loved Courtney's, again, those brows.
Even though I love Courtney's face, she didn't know what to do with the rest of her body.
Didn't Ashley say that too? She was like, I know, Rita, you love her, but there's something not clicking?
There's something, I think it's the confidence factor, which is something that they're really pushing this season, is confidence. She is not confident yet. She needs to step into herself and own this amazing face she has. In the first episode, she was the young woman that broke down when the contestant who was later kicked off was saying, "Oh, your eyebrows look like chia pets." She's like, "It's the first episode, girl. You can't cry that quickly."
Yeah. And Marissa, was that Marissa that said that to her?
No. It was a contestant that got kicked off.
No, the
episode.
one that said, "Don't cry yet." It's only
So okay. Right. Yeah. Marissa again. Marissa stays ready. She's ready.
I love that she's literally owning the fact my mother was 15 when. Sorry, I'm digressing. But
go ahead.
The fact that she was like, my mother was 15 when she had me, that made me stronger. I totally agree. There used to be this stigma that, oh, if you come from a broken home, you're not really prepared, and those are going to be the kids that do drugs. Again, saying that because I come from a broken home. My parents were divorced when I was 5. My mother raised me pretty much, and so forth. But I feel like I'm more prepared than most, especially those sometimes that come from homes that aren't split up or whatever you want to call it. But Marissa is just emulating everything that I talk about when it comes to being from a home that's like a little bit more rough than others, and she's killing it. Like, she is amazingly. So with the fact that she said it's only episode 1, don't cry, girl, I was like, yeah.
She just needs a thicker skin. Yeah. So that's what we're hoping for with her. Anything else from judging we want to talk about?
Well, of course, the bottom 2, we have Corianne and Justine. What did you think?
I saw it coming. Justine, we pretty much saw coming from the beginning of the episode because she didn't have a great walk from the walk-off competition from jump. And she didn't improve that much. And then once she couldn't close her legs for anything. But she is young. She's 18. She has a ton of time to grow and learn and mature, because there are other girls who are still teens on that show, but you can tell there's a certain level of maturity that they already possess that she doesn't have. And it's not bad. She's young. You're okay to mature slowly.
Yeah, I think that she was the one that should have been kicked off? No. I actually really did not like the fact that they gave that, oh, you're 18, you're young, you should be proud. I've had opportunities in corporate, when I was 26, 27, where I was doing amazing running a branch. And because I wasn't 40, because I wasn't 37, you got your whole life. I don't care. If I'm doing better than somebody in business, why am I getting discriminated on for my age? To me, this was discrimination. This was ageism.
I don't think she was doing better than anyone.
Ooh.
I really don't.
Man.
I don't think she didn't have a strong walk, and then from the first episode, she didn't have a strong walk, and then she didn't deliver in the photograph. Every single photo, her leg was open. And they said that one of their biggest problems with her is direction. She couldn't take they kept saying, close your legs, and her legs stayed open.
Yeah, I see your perspective. I think that Chris Leanne, if that's how you say it, Chris Leanne, sorry, I'm killing these names tonight. One of the judges blatantly said, like, I would never work with her again.
Elliott.
Yes, that's Drew. He's like, I would never work with her again. To me, I don't care if you got 50,000 followers or not. You're out. To me, if a photographer or someone who runs like a magazine says that, she should have been out. Justine, I think she's the epitome again of that young person that you can grow and shape. But it really brought up a very touchy subject for me, where we have ageism against elderly people and about people being old. No, seriously, but what about the young people? Like, I hate when that happens. It again resonated. It's something like if you see someone who has won a lot or has achieved a lot of things in school, they're like, oh, well, don't give it to that person. They always get it. We'll give it to that one. No, give it to the one that deserves to be there.
Right.
Again, not saying that I agree with you. She was definitely bottom 3. Yeah. She was bottom 3.
Again, I think it wasn't even the age thing. I think it's maturity, because Marissa's about the same, is maybe 1 year older.
Jack's completely different.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah. Okay, that's a good perspective, the maturity thing.
It's more maturity, less age.
Yeah.
They made it age, but I think it was maturity. I mean, she even said in the first episode, her family didn't know that she was doing the show. She just left and did it. Yeah, she had just graduated from high school, so your mind's in a completely different place.
And she was giggling. They did bring up her giggling a lot. I thought it was having Corianne be in the bottom 2. I thought that was cool. I mean, I think she did great. Obviously, her picture was not the best, but we know she's fierce, and having her in the bottom wakes her up. And I love that. And I appreciate that, that part of it. It's like, listen, nepotism is here, but you're not going to get it handed to you. So step up and do what we know you know how to do.
Exactly.
So it was a good ending. It was a good ending.
It was good.
Yeah.
And it gave us some hope. But Something I've been hoping for is that we would see more of Tyra this season. She was in the first episode. She did say she would be in sporadically. She wasn't in this one. And then you brought up something that made my heart quiver a little bit about seeing my icon Tyra this season.
Yeah, I was actually curious. I don't want to speak to it too much because I don't know all the details, but I was wondering if the reason she wasn't on the show is because she's being sued. I don't know if it's still ongoing, but in 2014, one of the former contestants they found out that she was an escort. I think her name was Angela, and Angela's suit was suing Tyra for $3 million. All these things came out like for 20 hours. She didn't let us drink. She didn't let us eat. We were on our feet and all of the above. But I mean, from what I remember, again, I'm only 5 feet tall. I was never a model, but to me, that sounds pretty standard for model. I mean, there used to be a joke, like if you're a model, you eat cotton balls or one piece of cheese. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not kidding.
But you have very strict rules, and you're supposed to come and work, and they're not as concerned sometimes with other aspects of life.
And that's okay.
And then also with reality shows, a lot of times that's done because they know emotions will be high and they can get more of a reaction out of you versus if you're all well fed and everything's happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sorry, but if this Angela person was an escort, then I don't blame the panel for not having her move forward. To each their own, but at the end of the day, like, depending upon, you're going to represent for a lot of women, young women, and a big thing in society today, like Janice Dickinson, I think, says, like, women have been a second class for quite some time now. We just got the right to vote like 100 years ago. I'm not a historian buff. There might be a little different. But to me, with all due respect, I'm struggling right now with building my own business and trying to do it without a man. Where, my dad's not going to pay for it. I don't have a husband. I'm not sleeping with anybody to get money. So the fact that she was an escort, I would not want that to be the face of America's Next Top Model either. So I hope Tyra got clear, or that if that's going on, or if that's the reason that she's out, that's unfortunate. But I don't think she's going to be. I think they're really trying, which we see that bringing like the humanity into it. Like, oh, let's tell personal stories. Let's talk about empathy. Let's relay all the stuff.
This season is supposed to be more modern, more hip. That's why we have a whole different cast. So we'll see. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see more Tyra. Cause
is that going to be your prediction?
That might be no, that's my hope. That's my dream, guys. I want to see more Tyra Banks because Tyra is America's Next Top Model. But so going into predictions.
And now your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, let me get out my list here of the top 14. So my prediction is, I believe next episode we're either going to see India or Chris Leanne go.
Oh, why are we on the same page? Yes, because one name we've barely mentioned this whole episode, actually we haven't mentioned it at all, was India. She completely fell off the radar this episode. They said they love her face, but she has like a slanted eye a little bit. But it's okay. Work that slanted eye, India.
I have one eye that's smaller than the other as well, which only means that either your masculine or feminine energy is imbalanced in your body, which is truth. So you might have just a little bit of imbalance. That's okay. You can meditate on that. Call me.
Thanks, Heather, for this deep knowledge I didn't know about. So yeah, I feel like she's gonna fade even more into the background in this next episode, which we see they're going to have a nude photo shoot with Ashley Graham, which is going to be interesting. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of controversy in this next episode because they have the makeovers, and I can already predict that there's going to be a lot of tears.
Okay.
And half of the girls are going to be upset because it's America's Next Top Model, and people need to be upset at their makeovers. It's tradition.
Yes.
You can change everything else about the show, but you have to have people pissed that their hair is cut off.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. And who do you think will be one of the most outraged about having to do a nude photo shoot? Because that is kind of asking a lot so early in the season.
Who's going to be the most outraged by doing
outraged or just uncomfortable?
I mean, cliche-wise, I would be like, oh, Paige, but now I think she'll be fine.
I kind of feel like she'll be.
Yeah, I feel like that's like typical though, so I kind of don't. My for some reason my intuition is saying Kyle, even though analytically I don't believe that, but Kyle's coming up for me.
I kind of feel that Gia might not be so okay with it. She's from the South. She's very Southern, very all-American. I don't know. I just feel like this is something that she's going to struggle with. So that'll be interesting, and I'm so excited to see who do you think would.
makeovers. I love them. I can't wait.
I feel like they're going to cut off someone's. They might cut off They're not going to cut off Cherish's hair.
They might. They
Oh
might.
wait, we don't know.
Yeah, they might.
Who do
They
you
might.
think is going to have the most dramatic makeover?
Cherish.
Cherish. Yeah.
Yep.
They did tease it. You know, she said she has virgin red hair. I feel like they're going to try something different with the twins to be
Oh, they have to.
to
They will
differentiate
definitely-
even more because
Yeah.
one has a shorter cut and one has longer hair. But I feel like they're going to go even a step further to maybe dye the hair a color or give someone extensions.
Yep, I think
just
so
to
too.
really show that they're two different people.
Oh, faux show, girl. Oh, faux show.
So only time will tell.
Yeah.
How the story unfolds. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in and joining in on our conversation. Make sure that you're going onto YouTube, you're liking the video, you're watching it, you're sharing it, and that you're engaging with us online. You can always hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, all of that at vivaciouslyviv, and then also check out vivaciouslyvivian.com and poshpoisepolish.com.
And it's me, guys, Heather. Thanks so much for joining us. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Heather Yerrid.
So come back and watch next week. Bye,
See
guys.
you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.